This is Legends with Bevo, thanks to Anytime Fitness Glenelg. And now, here's your host, Bevo.
Well, g'day, welcome to another edition of Legends with Bevo down here at the home of the mighty West Adelaide Football Club, and joined by a couple of legends. To my left is Hamish Hartlett, back at the Bloods this year. We'll speak to him in a moment about how that's going. And to his left, former Carlton Boys player of 11 games, and also the assistant coach down here at the Bloods now, and involved with the midfield as well. We've got Hammer Hartlett and Adam Hartlett. Great to have you on, boys.
Good on you, Bevo. Thanks for having us, mate.
Good to So, Hamish, we'll start with you, mate. What's it like being down here at the Bloods again? A bit different, no doubt, to when you last played here one time ago at the Bloods.
Yeah, there's a little bit that's changed, but also a fair bit that's remained the same as well. It's great to be back. You know, there's a great bunch of people here, both players, admin staff and coaches. Pre-season's certainly looks a lot different to what it has in the last 12 or 13 years, but adapted to it fine. And as I mentioned, it's just a great place to come and train, and the boys are really working hard, and we're really optimistic about what the season's going to produce for us, so it's very exciting.
Fantastic. In terms of the AFL situation, obviously, it's 193 games of power, that fantastic career that you had. And were you sort of close to getting another opportunity with another club, and sort of a bit disappointed that you didn't get to those 200 games?
Oh, look, to be honest, there wasn't a great deal of interest back in the last season, so we sort of had an idea about the way things might play out in terms of me not getting another contract. So between Michael Dowdy, my manager, and I, we sort of reached out to half a dozen clubs just to see whether they thought I might be required on their list, or if they could see an opportunity for me. And by the end of the draft period, I guess, and the trade period, they thought that there was no necessity for me, I guess. And so from there on, I made the decision obviously to come back here, and my mindset right from the outset has been to train hard, to work hard, and if another opportunity presents at some stage further down the line, I'll be more than happy to take it. But my priority at the moment is to play good footy at West Adelaide and to try and help us climb the ladder and potentially play finals football this year.
Fingers crossed that happens, mate. And Adzi, what's it like having a bro out here, and what's the pre-season been like? And having obviously not just Hamish, but also Kate and Brand and some other really good recruits as well.
Yeah, it's been awesome having a little brother back, and just having between him and Kate and 22 years of AFL experience coming to this club, and we've just got a young list dying for a bit more leadership and bit more experience, and now we've added those two to the group, along with some other really outstanding recruits from interstate as well, and the natural development of our younger players. Blokes coming up from the under-18, Harry Lemmy, going to have the majority of the season. Cody Bryan, Kate Kennedy, it's really exciting. The boys have just done everything we've asked them to, and they're just so willing to learn and get better. And it's a lot of passion within the group, and they want success and they want it now. So and obviously really looking forward to the season.
Obviously, the Bloods league side finished by the ladder, but really good signs last year. You mentioned it before, a couple of those young boys coming up, and good to see the young ladies and reserves play finals. That shows that you're heading in the right direction, doesn't it? Those guys coming from the lower grades and then coming out to play league footy.
Yeah, absolutely. It was hard, being a part of the senior group more so last year. I reflect on the team that I was sort of involved in more so than everyone else. But you look at even the women's footy, got to a grand final last year. 18s played finals, reserves played finals. So as a whole, the club's actually in quite a good spot. It's just we've got to get our senior boys up and firing this year. And as I said, with the inclusion of Hamish and Caden and a few other recruits, a bit of young talent coming through, which adds a bit of excitement, and the natural progress of the group. We're optimistic about what we can achieve this year for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. And I think towards the end of the season you have a lot of injuries as well. It doesn't help, and you're pretty close and played a few games. A lot of people sort of look at the ladder and think I'd finish bottom. But I was MC for all your home games, and I saw you play some really good footy there, and lost a couple of close games, which hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does absolutely. I mean, at the start of last year we were 2 or 3, and we went down to Glenelg by 2 kicks in round 1 away. We went on to play in a grand final. And then we lost the following week to the Crows by a couple of goals as well. And those sort of games, they can go either way. And then we won a couple. So, if you're 4-1 after 5 rounds, opposed to 2 and 3, you get a bit more optimism about the group and confidence. But unfortunately, we're 2 and 3 and we didn't win another game. And confidence gets dented, and along with a few injuries, it's just hard. It's a great competition, and you've got to get a lot of things right.
We're going to be up this year, so
That's it.
Now let's go back to the days of you boys growing up. I've got a brother myself, and we were so competitive, whatever sport it was, whether it be playing basketball, cricket, tennis, you name it. I think a couple of years ago I met my brother, and he was just didn't talk to me the rest of the night. So it was a lot that growing up with you boys as well, and who used to dominate the backyard cricket and the sports and what have you.
Yeah, I was definitely like that. Yeah, we're both very passionate sporting people, I guess. Our whole family is, and it was always footy in the winter and then cricket in the summer. And we've got a cousin that we used to knock around a fair bit back in the day as well, who's sort of Adam's age. And we got VCRs of having a kick in the backyard, and Adam on his hands and knees, and our cousin kicking the ball up at me, sort of jumping over the top, and vice versa, me on my knees and Adam and the boys jumping over the top of me. So there's always that sort of stuff going on. Pretty well, as soon as both of us could start walking, we had a footy in our hand. We were kicking a footy in the winter and playing cricket in the summer with Dad. And
It was almost overlapped.
Yeah.
It was never towards the end for a couple of weeks. It was just like footy season's finished, straight into cricket. Out in the shed, we would spend hours hitting cricket balls out there. I had a list this long of all the hundreds I've made. Couple up there. It's good fun. So we were just always outside, kicking the footy. The footy wasn't overly competitive in the backyard. We just try and lace each other out and have golf competition and stuff like that. And it was never overly physical. We weren't running through each other and like that. What about the boxing gloves?
Yeah, I was in cricket gloves.
We used to slap our cricket helmets on with the visors and put our cricket gloves on and just have a bit of sparring comps in our bedroom. And we were just caving in each other's faces in, and the crew was just like rattling off our collarbones and blood and stuff.
Mum would say, all right, off to bed, boys, or whatever it might be. And then, we'd have the cricket gear in the bedrooms, and the helmets would come off, the gloves would come, and we'd be on our knees, just trying to whack each other. And, there's definitely a little bit of competition and competitive spirit that went on. But as Adam mentioned, it was just constant all year round. So no doubt,
great try.
Yeah, so no doubt, that had played a huge part in the successes that we both had in our sport. Both being able to reach the pinnacle of our sports, I guess.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And playing footy together as young lads, what was that like playing big sports?
Yeah, we've only played a handful of games together. We played a few, during primary school. I'd always be a few grades higher than Hamish, and so if I was playing year 6, 7 footy and we were short, Hamish would come on as an 8-year-old or something and go all right. But we were lucky enough to play one senior game of footy together for Westies. We played round 1 out at Port Adelaide and had a good win out there. I would have loved to have played a lot more footy with him, and who knows what I don't know if I've got 3 or 4 years left in me, but it'd be nice to be able to pull the boots on again one day. But
we might have to be a difference. Might be cricket maybe, or I don't know, something else. It's a little less taxing on the body, perhaps. There we go.
Got a few dodgy joints between us.
And getting back to sort of dishing the dirt on each other, chance had to have a crack at Hamish. Was there any sort of habits growing up that he had, or any funny things he used to do that you wanted to sort of share?
There's a couple that come to mind. He's the hardest to dish dirt on because he's just so, straight down. Loves having a good time and stuff, but he's always just so composed and aware of what he's doing. And all I can think of, there's one funny story that I love telling of when we were at Matty Nobe's place. Hamish is a good mate. There's middle of summer, there's Matty Nobe's at this indoor cricket net, and we're all just having a bat and a bowl to each other, and half a dozen lads there. Hamish was in having a bat, and I'm not sure if it was me or one of the boys bowled this ball to Hammer, and he's gone down he went down to sweep it, and it's hit him in the box. And we all had a bit of a laugh, bloke gets hit in the nuts, have a laugh. And Hamish goes to stand up, and he grabs his light, screaming, and hits the deck. Oh, what's going on? He goes, it's stuck. We walked down there, and the box is split, and grabbed onto his something down there. A bit of skin was just like hanging out, and we were dying. All the boys, we were just on the floor in stitches. And so that's I've seen him at his most vulnerable in that situation. I think that's about the one that stands out for me. And just as a young fella, whenever he used to sleepwalk a hell of a lot, walk in the kitchen and piss in the fridge or piss in the dishwasher or something like that. But that's like, he would have been 6 or 7 years old then, Yeah, Mum and Dad will be out watching TV, and here comes Hamish. He's like a zombie through the house, and all of a sudden he's taking a piss in the pantry. I think you've grown out of that now.
What do you got to say about that, mate?
It's not true, first and foremost. So, yeah, thankfully, a lot of those habits I've grown out of, which has been good. But, any dirt on ads? There's not any specific story that really springs to mind. I know there was a bit of an incident on the first date that he had with his current wife.
The current wife, yeah.
One and only wife, his wife. Where I think they were at some sort of party, or might have been Sarah's work event or something, and there was red wine and beer and whatever else that you wanted to drink there, ready for the taking whenever you wanted it. I think I got a bit carried away on the reds, and felt a little bit crook at some stage, and didn't quite make it to the bathroom to sort of look after himself. And I think he sort of unstrapped the pants and straight down the front of the pants.
So what had happened? It was day 3. Friday night, Westies season wrapped up, so we're out in the Cairns. The next day was a race day. I'd been on the beers on the boys, and then just started seeing Sarah, now wife. And she goes, you're still going to come to this work function? I'm like, trying to impress. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll be right. So I've been on the beers for 48 hours, and rocked up to this event in my black tie and all that, and I hadn't drunk red wine before, and I had glasses, and I was just smashing them down. This guy next to me is like, you're right? I said, yeah, it's not safe. Just boom, boom, boom. He goes, just take it easy. And then another guy's like, nah, keep going. So I just kept going. And the steak came out. I had one mouthful. I'm like, nah, no good. And I ran to the toilet and strides down, spewed, just all through. And won her over somehow.
Two kids. That's why they do it, mate.
So,
that's brilliant.
I'm sorry for you went easy on me there.
Yeah, it's a question out of the blue. I'm sure if I delve a little deeper, there'd be something that comes up.
No, you've answered it well, yeah. Now getting back to your career, I mentioned before, 193 games for that power. What were some of your highlights and lowlights of your career, mate?
The highlights are, they stand out pretty easily, I guess. All the finals wins that we played in, and even some of the finals campaigns that we didn't go so well in. So I think about the 2017 elimination final against West Coast, and it going to, I think, double overtime. It's just like, it's just to even get the opportunity to play in those types of games is something you reflect on now. I just think, well, I was so lucky, and the crowd was just unbelievable. And yeah, we went down at the end of that game, but it was just a phenomenal game to be part of. Obviously, the wins that we had and a couple of prelims that we made but didn't quite get over the line in were amazing games to be a part of as well. A few of the showdown wins that we had, where we came back from big margins. And I think just in general, the 2013 season, after a few years of 10, 11 and 12 being really ordinary, not winning many games, and then at the end of 2012, obviously we lost Johnny McCarthy, which was probably the low light of my footballing career. To come out in 2013 and defy the odds of everyone and end up playing finals footy in that year was pretty was pretty unbelievable as well. So certainly more highs than lows, I'd say. Yeah, I dealt with a lot of injury issues, obviously a couple of shoulder reconstructions, knee reconstruction, and lots of soft tissue issues, but that's all part of footy and my story, my journey, and no, but there was certainly a lot more highs than there were lows.
And looking back at the last two prelims, obviously so close against the Tigers and then that disappointing performance against the Dogs. Just sort of feel as though a couple that sort of Port have let go, there's really big opportunities now and might come back to bite them the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think
they're good enough list now to go one better and make a great this year.
No, I think the boys and the club is in a great spot to be sustainable and have good long-term success. So yeah, there's definitely a sense of missing out on some opportunity, particularly I reckon 2020, in a really COVID interrupted year. We approached it really well. We got pretty lucky, I guess, in terms of we were only away in the hub for 2 or 3 weeks compared to some other teams that were away for longer periods of time. So I think that was probably the year that we really felt was one for the taking. But no, I certainly think that they'll be really competitive up in the top 4 and 6 of the league for a long period of time to come. It'd be great to be able to reward guys like Trav and Robbie with some real success. A premiership at the end of their careers, but it's not as easy as just being able to say it. There's a lot of things that've got to go right, and a lot of things you've got to do well for that to happen. So fingers crossed for the boys, that's the case.
Yeah, well said. And then, being a power supporter, obviously that being involved with the Bloods as well. You just sort of, I was there back in those days when they had the tarps out, camera and stuff like that, and a lot of people forget that. And this year or last year when they lost their game to the Dogs, there were so many people who's taking on Ken Hinkley and saying he's got to go. And people forget what he's done with the club and stuff. And sorry, that's the boy, even not talking about Bloods at the moment. But just in terms of how he turned the club around, I love how you mentioned that in 2013 because Port were on their knees, and the way him and Koshi and all the other guys got around Port and they've turned things around to make us Port a successful team. And playing 3 prelims is a wonderful effort. And a lot of clubs to be able to play three prelims in 10 years, a lot of clubs can make that. Yeah. Clubs that have been struggling the last 10 years. And I know you said that you want to win flags or win premierships, but it's like you just touched on, it's not easy. And you still have Melbourne in that grand final. And Port had made it. Who knows? They might have been the team that got thrashed because Melbourne were that good. Yeah. It just shows you've just got to be that next level, don't you? And they're not easy to win premierships. There's 18 teams in the AFL looking. They're all trying to do the same thing. Yeah, and you mentioned Paul and the sanfl as well. They're both tough competition, aren't they? So,
look, I think we lost 2 of those prelims by 3 points. The other one, obviously, last year we always got Belgium sort of out of the park pretty early on, but the 2014 and 2020 games, prelim finals could have gone either way. And I think people would be speaking a lot differently about Kenny had we fallen the right side of those results and made grand finals. Then he goes down as one of the great coaches and very successful in those types of things. But 3 points is the difference between a very successful coach and a coach that is getting scrutinised pretty heavily.
Yeah, no, well said, Hammer, for sure. Yeah. And in terms of your career, as you played out here with the Bloods and 11 games with the Carlton Blues, who were some of the funny teammates there, mate, and some of the tough opponents throughout your career?
Yeah, so back to the Blue Bagger days, it's so long ago now. 2004 was my draft. It's almost 20 years. It's crazy. It is, yeah. It's funny guys there, like Brendan Frivola is just an absolute character. I don't want to name drop, but he was just an absolute character. And Heath Scotland's another one who he's just funny. Just a funny guy, and some of my close like Brad Fisher and Jordan Russell and Michael Jamison, those guys who used to knock around with Sean Grigg, they were just had great personalities, and always had a laugh at those boys. Probably too many laughs, which is why I only played 11 games. Maybe I should have gone a bit serious from time to time, but
it's all about them.
Absolutely, but loved my time at Bloods as a player, and after being let go by Carlton as a 23-year-old, obviously I still felt like I had heaps of footy ahead of me, and I just wanted to come back to West Adelaide and play 100 games or win a flag. So we lost a grand final in 2012 to Norwood, which was a tough day, and made a prelim the following year under Andy Collins, and then we had Mark Mickens era where we came in, and we've just gone from this completely defensive mindset of we'll win games 8 goals to 6 to Vickers coming in and going, all right, they're going to kick 20, we're going to kick 22. So, and it took a bit of adjusting, and it was pretty smart in the end, because I think naturally we had that defensive mindset instilled in us through 6 years under Andy Collins, and for Vickers to come in and go, right, let's just unleash the shackles a bit. It took 12 months to get that balance right. But mind you, like Vickers' first year, we finished second bottom, I think, but we kicked 20 goals in a couple of games, and we hadn't done that in 5 or 6 years at college. And then, the premiership year, we just got it all right, and we got healthy at the right time of the year. We fell into third position and a double chance by the slimmest of percentages, and then lucky enough to win the flag. So great time. I get pins and needles just thinking about it, and that's why I'm back here. I want this group to taste that same success.
Totally understand, mate.
Yeah.
And in terms of some of your tough opponents you played at, during the sanfl and AFL as well?
So the standout to me, and we had some great battles over my last couple of years at West Adelaide. Andrew Ainger and Michael Bunky, the twin towers up forward for the Eagles, and Tommy Kerr and I always had our hands full with them. One of them would always get off the leash, and I just remember round 1 of our premiership year, I kept Ainger like no goals to half time, and in the third quarter he 5. I was just like, oh shit, and then didn't get in the last. So, he just had this 20-minute period where everything was falling in. But that's just what he was like. You just had to be on him the whole time, be switched on the whole time. Yeah. And one kid was just a class act, won 3 or 4 Ken Farm medals as a leading goalkeeper in the comp. Brett Eddy was tough to play on. Johnny Butcher was tough to play on. I reflect on that and just see how lucky I was to play on those sort of blokes. Quinn Alloway was another. Just like genuine superstars of SANFL footy, and just go into battle against them and win 95 of those nonsense.
And how was that real tough opponents in the AFL, mate? And who are some of the real famous teammates you played with out in the tower, and why?
Toughest opponents. I remember pretty early on in my career, I think it might have been my second or third year, I was still trying to find my feet in the midfield a little bit. I probably didn't have the engine to play there full time, but sort of played there for little periods. And I remember Matty Primus stuck me on Chris Judd, and he said, "Mate, just go with him wherever he goes, and good luck," sort of thing. And it was a bit of a wake up call in terms of how hard you need to work. And he was just getting to every contest, and I was just like absolutely cooked trying to keep up with him. So that was pretty cool experience, I guess, on reflection. And I guess later on in my career, in the AFL, you're pretty much playing on various opponents, particularly through the half back and back pocket roles. So you there's lots of players that flick through those areas. So spend time on guys like sort of Eddie Betts and Charlie Cameron and Cyril Rioli a few years ago, these types of guys, but also your resting midfielders like your Dustin Martins and these types of guys that play down forward as well. So there's always, no matter who you're playing against, whatever team you're playing against, there's always going to be some sort of superstar that you can be up against at some point.
Sounds horrible.
So
Sounds horrible.
and that's the thing. You got to, I guess, play to your strengths and try and nullify their strengths as much as possible. And a lot of it comes down to positioning, especially when you're playing on guys like Charlie Cameron or someone that's going to beat you for pace. That's where you've got to try and use your positioning to your advantage and try and work them into positions that aren't going to be as dangerous as opposed to if they're getting behind you, it's pretty much game over. So interesting battles all the time. Loved them all. Very lucky we've been able to be in those opportunities.
In terms of some of the boys at the Powers, like the guys that grew up down there and stuff. And any funny pranks that you want to share as well?
some of the real questions.
It's only a couple of years ago, they'll cover the water.
Yeah, cover the water on the door, on the back of the door, and so that was quite funny for a short period of time. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there wasn't really too many pranks that ended up happening down at the club in my later years. But in terms of personalities, yeah, probably Justin Pittard's one that stands out as just a rare dude, like nicest and most loyal mate. A funny guy. Big Sammy Hayes is quite a funny unit, just the way he goes about things. Tommy Rockliff's got his own sort of personality and quirks and sense of humour. Yeah, but I've got a super bunch of mates down there. Tommy Jonas, Tommy Cleary, Ollie Wines, Darcy Burn-Jones, Riley Bonner. Guys that I still try and catch up with and knock around with as much as I can. So, yeah, pretty fortunate, I guess, to have been involved in a great club with good people, and that's what they look for first and foremost down there at Port Adelaide, is just good characters, and there's plenty of them getting around.
I remember one prank Carlton boys used to do, so this is how old we are, when I was there, this is when iPhones started coming out, and the boys finished training, go to their locker, go get their phone, and there'd be an ankle tape's worth of wrap just around their phone, and they're just sitting there for about half an hour trying to pick ankle wrap off their brand new iPhone. So shit like that, it's almost daily in footy clubs. You know, when you're full time around each other, it can get pretty mundane, I suppose. Training, recovery, weights, meetings, right? So you need those circuit breakers, I think. Yeah, and we encourage it around here. We want boys to be themselves and have fun. As soon as we cross that line, we're fair.
That's serious side as well. Yeah, most definitely. And speaking of serious side, Hammer, I've heard that you're a bit of a superstar with karaoke, mate, and your go-to song is 3 AM Lunchbox 20. I've been told a bit of inside information.
Right? Yeah. Look, yeah, get a few beers into us, I suppose. Yeah, if we end up at the karaoke bar, that's generally the
go-to
song that comes out. Yeah, I tried learning on the guitar as well, but
not too bad.
Yeah.
You're going to be better than Steve Smith when each other play the guitar and sing at the same time.
Yeah, that is the truth.
Don't talk to us about Smith's square, but
yeah. Playing, strumming and singing at the same time is something that I found really complicated. But yeah, don't often get to sort of your K-pop karaoke bars as frequently as I would like, but that's usually the go-to. Yeah, 3 AM, that's what's time. I think that's to smash it back in the day. And, yeah.
Maybe to have like a sample karaoke competition or something like that.
We need a music night.
Each club has a representative.
Yeah, right. You can see that up there.
Yeah, that would be magnificent. Yeah, there you go.
I think we've got our candidate here for Bloods. I reckon.
We might have, we've got our footy camp next week on Saturday night, so we might have to organise maybe one person from each group does a bit of karaoke.
Yeah, film a bit for license. Yeah. And before the boys go, as you spoke before off air about playing good footy this year, how you played last year for Galway. Not bad for your first game playing for the mighty Magpies. The Magpies up there in the Great Southern Footy League to snag 5 and then 6 in your second game.
Yeah.
And so you've signed on with your Dunder, is that right?
Yeah, so I was resided to the fact that I was going to just go play a few games down to Galway. Again this year, love it down south, and I think whilst I was playing at Westies, I'd always looked at the Greater Southern Footy League as somewhere I'd want to eventually play. Like growing up, we used to always go down to Victor Harbour and just loved it down there. It's just such a nice, relaxing lifestyle now from the city, And literally a text came out from Chris Schmidt to me, Daniel Kerr, and a couple of other premiership players that we all played together at Westies, and like, you came to come out and have a run and win one more flag, and I was just like, shit, that would be good fun. So yeah, it all got signed off a couple of weeks ago, and it'll just be a handful of games, and just be good to play with Schmitty and a few other lads again, and kick a few snags, might leave the goal square. And hopefully I've just got some 18-year-old kid who's 70 kilos manhandle and give him a bit of lip to. Oh, he'll be running off, but
You won't chase him.
I won't be chasing. Yeah. So, looking forward to it. Yeah, the Unanimous Saints. So, but loved my time at Gould last year. I only played 3 games, you know. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, Hamish, Hartlett, and Adam Hartlett, thanks so much for joining us on Legends Bevo Boys. This has been an absolute ball, and all the very best for the Bloods for 2022.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks.